Good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Gately. I'm running for District 26 Senate in Western Cranston. Like Mr. Bebo, the one person he didn't mention, my opponent, will be Beatrice Lanzi, who works for the United Way as the Labor Relations Director for them at a salary of $90,000, takes the full benefits from the state, family benefits, to a cost of us of $23,000, and even refuses to pay co-share, even though United Way offers a full benefit program. That's the type of corruption and screwed up situation that we have in our General Assembly. I appreciate the federal candidates that we had. I'm here for our state. I'm here for my daughter Elizabeth, I'm here for my son Bob, and I'm here for my wife Susan. And I will do everything in my power when I get elected this year to try and make Rhode Island a better place. It is a complex mechanism up there. There are 113 moving parts that you have to deal with in the General Assembly. But when you go and it's disgusting when you see Senate votes in the Rhode Island General Assembly, everyone is 34 to nothing, 39 to nothing, 38 to nothing, 32 to 2. It's ridiculous is what goes on in Smith Hill, and it's about time that we change it. The revolution has begun. We don't have to fire a shot. We don't have to draw blood. What we need is all these people sitting in this audience, our coalition, the voter coalition, and all the disparate groups that we have. This is an opportunity that's in front of us that has not been in front of us, that we can take our state back. We can take it back for our kids, we can take it back for our grandkids, and if we miss this opportunity might not be in front of us again. And damn it, I grew up in Garden City Road, in Cranston, in Garden City, and my parents lived a dream that I have a better life than them. And I'm now looking here, as living as a resident in this state, that it's going to be harder for me to provide a better life for my children, and they don't deserve that. We deserve better. This is the best damn state in the United States of America. I'm tired of people putting us down. We need to put the right people in office. My friends here, the people that show up to this and take time to speak to the people, the ones that we need to elect, and I hope you support every candidate. And by the way, I'm Republican and I'm proud. Thank you all for your time. I agree with my colleagues on the DS, excuse me. It is one of those things. We have to move to a standard 401k. Yes. The function of municipal and government unions and those types of things was to be able to provide people a living wage. They make 10 times the living wage. Talking about the Central Falls situation where the average salary of these teachers is $72,000 to $79,000 to work 180 days. Okay, people. Is 6.5 hours a day. Thank you very much. And they don't extrapolate that out to a full year. They make the equivalent. They can get a second job in the summer because they're not working. They make $120,000 a year. And I love the teachers. We need teachers. I've had teachers who are inspirational to me in my life. Unfortunately, I was in a Catholic school and they make half the money and do 10 times a better job in the performances there. I think Central Falls is a model for most of our schools across the state. I think that we should even lower the threshold for that to occur across our schools in our state. Our future is our children. Our children suffer. The unions are self-interested. In my city in Cranston, 88% of our municipal budget goes towards the cost of schools. It's something close to 92% of that budget goes towards salaries. Okay? So we have bad books, old books, broken, we have libraries, we have leaking ceilings, and yet we have people worrying about having to pay 10%. I pay Cobra $1,189.90 a month. The reason why I know that because the check went out of my account today. Okay? We need to have that reform. They have to come in line with the private sector. They come in line with reality, not only the private sector. Almost everyone in this room here has taken a pay cut in the past 2 years. The only people in the state who haven't happens to be the unions. So we need to fix it. We need to fix it now. We can't do it in baby steps anymore. We're close to being at a nuclear option here in the state. So I hope all of you support all of your legislators. I have a quick answer. How do we solve that problem? You, the people in the back there. Mr. Laughlin, who's a veteran of the General Assembly, will tell you, I've gone up and testified in committee hearings. You show up at these committee hearings, and they give you out different colored stickers on whether or not you're a lobbyist or if you're a citizen. And almost every hearing I've gone to, I'm the only citizen. The only way, they're like rats on a ship or cockroaches in your kitchen. When you turn the lights on, they scurry. And the only way the lights get turned on is if you show up. We can get there, we can vote, we can sit on committees, we can do that. But if I'm sitting on a committee and I'm the only Republican on the committee, which I know Mr. Laughlin has survived and suffered through this in his career in the General Assembly, no matter how good of an idea that you have or whatever it is, it goes for further study. Okay? And that's how they pull the strings, and that's how they get, and you have to acquiesce to them. But I gotta tell you, when citizens show up, that's why they're scared as hell. Okay, up there at Smith Hill. The Democrat Party and the party in power in this state is scared as hell because we show up. They've been trying to dismiss all of us as teabaggers and everything else that they want to come up with. They're wrong. What we are is hardworking, middle-class people in this state that made this state what it is. And if you really want to be able to stop what their dictatorship is, we need, if I'm there, I promise it's shining a light on what the process is, and we need every single one of us to show up to committee hearings and participate, because they're lazy, they don't care about you, okay? Because all they're going to do is care about whether or not they're going to have a beer down at the pub later and talk about what kind of legislative gift they gave to their friend. And that's really, at the end of the day, how we can change this is that we need people that sit in this room that show up to these things. We need Tea Party people. We need people across the spectrum to take our state back and take our government back, because they're there to serve us. We're not here to serve them. Thank you. Being a homeowner and having my property taxes from when I built my house in 2001 from paying a total of about $3,400 to this past year, where it's going to be close to $13,000 between automobile excise tax and property tax that I have. And I live in Cranston. When we had our Cranstember payment that we had to make due to the bad administration in Cranston and bad contracts with unions, property taxes are necessary. I want my son, who's 5 years old and he starts kindergarten next year, I want to have the best public school for him possible. But I think in part of the governor's plan, the equitable funding formula that we don't currently have in place in the state of Rhode Island is a first step. But also having reasonably priced schools, because that's what really drives our property tax costs, is the unfunded pensions that we have and the teacher salaries that we have to pay. And if we can bring those into line and bring it in, people talk about class size. I mean, I went to school with 30 kids in my class, and for some reason I can complete a full sentence. One of the largest things that we have to be able to reform property taxes is the special student needs that we have, where we have an understanding that they need assistance, but having a full-time teacher paying attention to one student with special needs that's making $69,000 salary, plus benefits, plus pension, the whole 9 yards, there has to be a better way. And the only way we're going to do that is by being able to change the faces in the General Assembly. But I do agree, our property taxes are onus. I think that I heard that the stat in Rhode Island was somewhere, we're like in the bottom 3 or 4 or 5 in regards to property tax burden to individual taxpayers. And we have to fix it. And to that note about tax and tax reform, people are talking about we have to be competitive with our neighbors. Why not be #1 in the entire friggin' country? Excuse me for using that terminology, but why not have the lowest tax rate? Why not have the friendliest business environment? Why not try and do that? Because that's what's going to fix our company. We can cut costs, but we need to sit the other side of the balance sheet, which is we need to drive revenue here. As we've seen with the transparency train and some of the issues that Osprey's had to deal with, I agree. I think that, as I said, you got to shine a light on everything. And it's come to a point where our government has become self-entitled and they don't believe that they're accountable to us. And that's what we need to do. And it goes back to what I said before. Gina, I believe, who completely killed the Westerly School Committee because she shined a light on them down there and ended up saving them like I think it was like 1.4 million, you told me, or something like that. That's what happens. That's where activity comes from. It is you. It's the people. We as elected officials are there to try and represent you, but at the end of the day, it's up to us to be able to go and show up at your school committee meetings and hold them accountable, because they don't. That's the problem. The lack of participation that we have from our general populace is one of the largest impediments to reform that we have. And as long as you do that, and people like Gina and people like Steve Wright and all these people who show up, and Ray McKay and all of our political activists, and Mr. Hiron's here, We dedicate lots of times and hours because we want to make this a better place, and we're trying to hold the flashlight. What we need is a gigantic spotlight, but if you got a big spotlight, you need 10, 15 people to help hold it up, and that's what we need people like you for, is to help us shine that spotlight and save us. Thank you.